Well, that track sort of petered out. Hello! I thought, to make a change of pace, instead of using the Sekiro music as introduction to Neo streams, I thought I'd use some Neo music as an introduction to the Sekiro stream. Yay. Hi. Hi, Ragdoll. How you doing? We're here to draw all Sekiro bosses. Because I definitely remember all of them. And they're going to be good and easy to distinguish from my drawings, which are going to be accurate and memorable. Yes. I'm just going to put Soul's music on in the background again, because if I get specific about wanting to have the soundtrack to the games that I'm drawing in the background, then I'm going to run out of things to do for Elden Ring, so... We'll just have some generic souls. Also, you know, limited variety and an individual soundtrack. So, yeah. Let's hop on over here. Here is, as you requested, Man with the Swordfish. So, if you're new, if anybody here is new, this is the, I guess, fourth stream of this we've done, but the fifth game that we are drawing and ranking every boss in the FromSoft third-person action RPG series, Souls-likes, etc. The ones I've played anyway. These are the ones we've done so far. Green is Dark Souls 1, blue is Dark Souls 2, orange is Dark Souls, or yellow is Dark Souls 3, red is Blood. We're about to do Sekiro, and this is the sort of rough distribution of where I think things should be. To reiterate, the scale is C is average. Anything below D I wouldn't mind being removed from the game. Anything above B I would be actively angry if it was removed from the game. There's only a few things that have really made it up into A. There's Artorias, up into S. There's Artorias, Manus from Dark Souls 1, Ludwig and Orphan from Bloodborne, as well as a little cameo appearance in the S-A+ tier of Gale from Dark Souls 3 and Gehrman from Bloodborne. And right down at the bottom we have our calibration of the Bed of Chaos, which is the worst boss in any of these games. So they are just the solid F of the series, although we have some other contenders for Fs, because they don't really they never needed to exist. So they're not terrible, they're just like, get rid of them, who cares? Yeah, so we're doing Sekiro. Sekiro, if you don't know, is much less fantastical. There's still fantasy, but it's rooted in a specific place, historical Japan, and much more about sort of Japanese fantasy rather than just whatever goes.
It's boarded shut. I'll need to find another way in.
Need to find another way in. Oh no. Hi Tim. How you doing? Yeah, so we'll be drawing all the Sekiro bosses, hopefully. Now, Sekiro is the first of the FromSoft series to just have too many bosses. It's just like, hey, you know we used to have bespoke bosses? How about no? How about we just copy and paste this boss over and over again? And then have like 4 more that are like that, but not really. You're tired. You are tired. Oh no. Are you getting strong again? Is that what happens? Less fantastical ends up fighting a dragon. Yes, but I don't fight a demon straight away. You know what I mean? It's still fantastical, but it's less. There's a build-up to that in this game. Well, you got to be tired after you worked out? Because if you weren't, everybody would be doing it constantly. But you did it, though, didn't you? Did you work? The outing of the work? I don't know what involves. I don't know what working out involves. It's not something I've ever really experienced. That's a lie. I've done it. But, this is the Hunter's Dream. It's too quiet here. Skip. Yeah. So it's Sekiro time. So yeah. So what I was saying is that this is the first of the FromSoft games that was just like, I honestly don't know how many bosses there are in this game. Probably hitting 100, maybe. Probably more closer to like 80, 90, something like that, because they do a lot of copying and pasting. In this game, it makes sense. You're fighting an army of people. A lot of them are going to fight similarly. They're people who are trained in the same sort of methods, etc., etc. Elden Ring just takes that and runs with it. But yeah, time for the Sekiro. You know Neckbirth and Sneck. Sneck does not make an appearance. Sneck is not a boss. You'll have to wait for Elden Ring for that. So yeah, I also realized that next week we'll be doing Elden Ring, which, but also, yeah, that may very well be the game in the series that you've never seen. So I'm gonna have to try and describe some of these bosses in a way that makes sense. You just know Neckbirth then, yes, exactly. Also, this is the first game in the series where... No, that's not right. Yeah, no, it is. I think. It's the first game in the series where your ending dictates certain bosses, whether you'll meet them, so you can't actually do all of the bosses in one playthrough, which is kind of interesting. You know, you can do the non-Neckbirth playthrough, or the Neckbirth playthrough. Do you fight, you know, the person as they have been, or do you fight the person as they have been born from someone's neck? There's Ape and Ape Wife. They do something a little different with that. You're fighting two at once, etc. But it's still, yeah. A couple of trolls. We'll get to it. Right. Anyway, Swordfish guy, you're gonna have to vanish. Actually, no, you'll be a mascot. You can be up. You're A. No, you're S. S tier. S for Swordfish. Right. First boss. I don't know the name of the first boss. It's a guy with a sword. It's not really a boss. It's also, I think, probably right in saying, the first boss in any of these games that you can just walk past. You don't have to fight him at all. You know, up until now, you've had fog gates and stuff like that getting in the way. Sekiro was the first game in the series where it's like, well, we'll do that for the main bosses, but no sense doing it for all of them. Again, clothing is going to be nondescript. You are holding a sword. It's basically a strong enemy. An enemy that has, like, more than one move. I think they have 2 moves. Top Knot, if I remember correctly. He's like a captain or a general or something. He's a guy with a sword. Honestly, didn't need to be a boss, to be honest. Didn't need a health bar, didn't need a name. I haven't remembered it. Neckbirth playthrough sounds like a weird speedrunning category. I mean, yeah, Neckbirth percent. I like it when people take completely arbitrary things and make them a speedrun. So I watched somebody recently do a speedrun of New Vegas, Fallout New Vegas, where the speedrun was to try and get across the map and, like, desecrate somebody's war memorial. and they called time when the person ran up and called them an arsehole. It's like, that was the speedrun they chose to do. I like that. You are a guy. Use the sword, Luke. Silly speedruns are the best. Oh yeah, and there was somebody who did like a speedrun of Fallout 2, which was, they called it, was it moron percent? Basically, you had to get to a character and they had to call you a moron. That was their. It's good. It's good time. Silly speedruns. We should do silly speedruns. Let's try and work out a silly speedrun to do in like Dishonored or something. Dark Souls. Yeah, I honestly. You're not going to get any kind of accurate drawings for most of these enemies out of me. So this is just Guy, who's here. This is Guy. I think he's old. Old guy. He's Guy. Got a top knot. As was the style at the time. He's a guy. He's doing good. Also, I'm doing purple because I was trying to think of a colour for Sekiro. Orange was the obvious one, but I've already used sort of red and yellow, so that's going to get confusing. So I went for purple because a lot of the magical stuff in this game is very sort of pink and purple, sort of cherry blossom-esque. So yeah. Old guy having a great time with a sword, and you can just run straight past him. You don't need to bother him at all. He's cool. Also forgettable. But he does... I guess he is your first sort of introduction... He's the first enemy that you encounter that teaches you have to deflect in order to break down the defenses of your opponent. which is an important mechanic, and it had to be simple to teach you that, and easily telegraphable to teach you that, because otherwise you're just going to die over and over again before you get to the first proper boss. Tutorial, yeah, but he's a much... Because the method of playing this game is so different from its predecessors, the deflection timing, it's people like to make fun of this statement, and I agree, but it is more of a rhythm game. The rhythms are arbitrary and not, conducive to any sort of song or anything, but Barry's also joked about doing nipple percent in Mario Odyssey, which is playing until you get shirtless Mario. Good old Barry. I was watching him play a game, apparently they released a bunch of, unfinished or prototype games from from Zachtronics. That was a fun time. Might give that a go, because that looks fun. Zachtronics is good. I played Opus Magnum on stream. It's a good time. I don't know. Thing is, I wouldn't be upset if it was removed from the game. Because this whole area, it's not like you need to learn deflection in order to do the next boss. We could probably have waited. This boss is removable, right? Because there's another boss coming up later who does the same thing. Performs exactly the same sort of action, but is just tougher. So... I don't know, I can't... He's having a good time, but he's gonna go down here. Purely because, you can have a good time, but it doesn't need to fight. If you can run past it, it's obviously going to be removable. But, yeah, so I need to speed up. I don't know how many bosses are in this. I don't have a counter, I don't have a list. I'm going purely from memory here. I will forget things. Am I going to include Genichiro here? The next boss is Genichiro. But you fight Genichiro about 4 times, and this is one you can't win. So, is it a boss? Even you can get his health down to 0, but then you get screwed over in the same way as you would do if you lost. So, story-wise, nothing changes. But is it the same fight as the next Genichiro boss? No, because it has phase 2, which is more interesting. Okay, fine. Genichiro. Genichiro 1. He's got the whole Kabuto hat thing, right? In this phase. I should learn what these... I should know what these hats are called, because I picked up about 200 of them in Neo. He looks cool. Same with me. Nose. He looks more like a protagonist than Sekiro does. Wolf. Him grump. Him want the secret to immortality. Scrangly hair. Yeah, he's got the full armor on when you first fight him. It's all big and stuff, and he's got his sword. Everyone's got a sword. I'm gonna draw a lot of swords. This fight's satisfying. This is good. This is a fun one to learn. Like I say, first fight in and of itself is you're gonna die. I have beaten it myself, but only on New Game Plus. And like I say, you don't get anything for it, so it's not particularly remarkable. Gonna have to try and learn different ways of holding a sword as well. Otherwise, this is. Gonna keep drawing this. So how's everybody's day been? Have we all been good? Trying to think. I remember literally nothing about the rest of it. It's just it's samurai gear, basically. He's coming at you. He's gonna do his swings. He doesn't have his wibbly wobblies yet, but he's gonna do his swings. That's for sure. I don't know what armor looks like. Help! Why did I do this? This is a stupid idea. I should have looked up reference. I don't know how to draw any of this. I can give you big gloves. Oh, Ash Lake. There you go, never. Yinichiro. You did drawing and it worked out. Now you're tired. It's a pretty alright day. Nice. You got strong and you got more powerful. She was getting more powerful. Have we mentioned this? Now you're drawing again. You're probably drawing something better than me. Oh, let's go for that. Genichiro 1. Fun. Bringing back the idea of a boss. Well, is this the first boss in the franchise that you know, Seath 1? But I didn't even include that as a boss on this list, so. No power. All power. I was going to ask if this is the first boss that you have to die to. Again, you don't really have to, but it doesn't change anything. It is as though you had died. He will beat you in the story. So, honestly, given that this comes back as a phase 1 of a later fight, this is actually a satisfying fight to learn. This is good. I'm going to say the word satisfying a lot during Sekiro. The combat of Sekiro is very satisfying. To learn and to execute, it's Moorish, for me anyway. So yeah, it's pretty darn good fight. I remember enjoying learning this. So is it gonna go there? There? I think it's gonna go that high. It's not that cool. It's just a guy with a sword though. That's the problem. Where's Alon? Yeah, let's put it on par with Alon. There we go, second boss already, B+. We're poking into the A's. That's a good sign. Next boss is the guy with the sword again. Now we go into the game proper. Tutorial area over. Proper boss. Jumping sword man. So I'll just draw jumping sword man. He likes to jump. He doesn't like to jump that much, but that's the first move I remembered that he does. Again, I'm pretty sure he's wearing the same sort of helmet. I'm going to have to distinguish these by action rather than design, because as you can see, being able to remember and replicate the design is not something that I have in my repertoire, my skill house ability. Don't jump with swords, don't run with scissors. No. Although you can run with swords, or you can run with a sword. But as soon as you pick up a second sword, that's equivalent to a pair of scissors, so you have to stop running it up. What is a pair of scissors if not two knives? 2 knives and a hinge. Give you big gloves. You like that, and you get. Aha! Like this. Probably got big old shin pads on or something. Also, I haven't drawn anything today. Or indeed for about 3 days. Because anxiety, which is gone now, hooray. I can start doing things again. I did try earlier in the week and everything I made was awful. I haven't drawn anything, I know. What a surprise that is to all of you. This is not as good as Genichiro, but also avoidable. You can just run past him again. It's got the jump attack, which is kind of fun. Kind of satisfying. I guess this is like your first sort of proper boss that you actually benefit from beating. It's just to go with the sword again. There's nothing really special about it. I would rather fight Genichiro again, so One's down here somewhere. I need to look back to see roughly on par. Yeah, sure. You go there, jumping sword man. You have a good time. There is a fun glitch you can do though. You can trick him into running off the cliff, which is cool. Yeah, carry on. Troll. Something that isn't a guy with a sword. A+ glitch. There's some fun glitches you can do in this game with regards to getting bosses out of their arenas. There was one I saw somebody manage to aggro the armored soldier? Armored soldier. Get them out of the arena and just have them follow them like across the map. They were trying to get them to fall off the edge of a cliff or something, but they just followed them all the way around the map. It's like, yeah, this is, you're supposed to be in an arena with a fog gate. I'm trying to get because the gimmick with that boss is that you get them to fall off the side of the thing. But these guys are like the first boss you come across that are like not a guy with a sword and resolutely do not fight like a guy with a sword. They scream and they shout and they pick you up and they throw you around. Lots of big bangs, lots of bad things. So like, yeah, there's a dichotomy of bosses in Sekiro. Are you playing basically man or animal? That's how I'm gonna split it up. These are animals. Give him a tooth. They break out of the stocks when you arrive, but it's fun to draw them in stocks. You may remember them from my randomized playthrough as looking like Shrek. Manimal. Isn't that a thing? Manimal? Don't say furry. Oh, hang on. I'm gonna skip this because it got me a copyright strike on the last video. Screw you, Ornstein and Smo. Then again, I wasn't really saying anything. We were just looking at concept art at the time. Yeah, it teaches you that there's gonna be different bosses. They fight differently. You're gonna have to deal with you're gonna have to learn how to fight things that you can't. The fighting in this is more like a traditional Souls fight than it is a Sekiro fight, in as much as damage is probably more important than parrying. Or it's definitely more important than parrying. I have tried to parry this boss, and it's you can, but it doesn't do anything. So, I don't know if it's wearing clothes. I'm gonna guess it's wearing clothes. Sure, give it the rags. Good old-fashioned rags. Lots of screaming, lots of shouting. This boss can throw you off the edge. Well, that's fun. It's alright. It's kind of cool. Bit annoying. Remember it being frustrating on my first playthrough because I didn't know how to fight it because it wasn't a guy with a sword. Not particularly satisfying a fight, even when you've learned it, because there's just a lot of kind of circling around and hit, circle, hit, circle, etc. Nah, but it's not a guy with a sword, so it's got that going for it. It's less satisfying but more interesting than the jumpy guy. So I feel like it makes sense to put them on par because it's better in one way, worse in another. After this, you meet the snack, but they're not the boss. I'm trying to go through the game in my head. Headless, actually. Now, speaking of head. Oh, that's a weird segue. The headless. Do they carry a head? No, they don't. They've got a stump with like hair coming off of it, which is a bit horrible. There's a headless in a cave nearby, so I might as well do that before I forget. There's like 6 of these in the game, I think. 4, 6. 4 normal ones and like 2 pairs, something like that. Some underwater, some not underwater. These are, I'm gonna say gimmick fights, in the sense of good luck doing any damage to them if you don't have magical power. If you don't put confetti on your sword, you ain't getting nothing done. and they will rip your soul out of your behind. And that is not a joke. That is very much what they do. They do have a sword, yes, they do. They swing it around their head. It's cool. Party boy, if you don't have confetti, you're not coming in. Yeah, needs confetti. Yeah, these guys are tough. Even when you do have the confetti, they are not trivial. I still don't think I've really learned how to fight them. They're a guy with the sword again, I guess. I like the fact that these are repeated is I'm kind of cool with, because it's like these things were made from people. Like, that makes sense. You know, if this process can happen to one person, it can happen to multiple people, and they're all like heroes. Like everyone who has a sugar is one of these now, or something like that. Which mechanically is just like, hey, where are we going to put the infinite sugar item? Let's give it to the headless. Why not? But in the story, it makes sense. Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-dum. Best music in the game. Again, I'm not using the Sekiro soundtrack because I don't have it. Yeah, scraggly hair. It's all horrible. This is probably the only boss in the game that I'm like still not comfortable fighting. It's like, oh, that I've never been comfortable fighting, I should say. It's just, they're so punishing. They're so punishing, and yeah, I don't know. Also optional, fully optional. You never have to fight one of these. Kind of cool, creepy, weird, based on Kappas, but buff Kappa. What if Kappas but buff? Scary thought. Need confetti, need sugar. These are party animals. Also, I keep drawing outside the box. This is very much in the box exercise here. They've left an impression. I wouldn't want to get rid of them, but I don't find them fun to fight. They're just kind of a panic. They're better than that. Not as good as that. Yeah, actually, pretty on par with the old bloodletting beast. I don't really know how to fight them. I just sort of panic and it works. Buff Kappa with no head. That's what we need. This is more intimidating than the Kappas in Neo. That's for sure. And I would say that they give better loot, but I never use the items that these guys drop, so. Yeah, pretty cool. Good old C+. Nothing wrong with that. I feel like I should have another copy of these letters over this side, so that we can actually see it when we're drawing. Can I do that? I can do that, right? This is my document. I can do what I like. It's my document, and I'll do what I like now. Zip. There we go. It's like when you're reading like a table or something on a website or in Excel, and you've scrolled down so far you no longer know what each column means. Right, cool, fantastic, excellent. I can move that at will. Whee, look at it go. Ooh. Right, next boss in the proper gameplay is Gyobu Masataka Oniwa. One of the few bosses in the game whose full name I know because he shouts it very loud. He has a horse. That makes this very different. He has a spear, which isn't a sword. Good for him. And a horse, which I have to draw now. The horse is wearing like armor over its face. Has anyone ever done like a playthrough of Sekiro where they managed to take down this guy without attacking the horse? I guess it's possible, right? They share the same sort of health bar. So if you can get the attacks right. My name! Basically anything anybody knows about this boss is that he shouts. I think on my first playthrough I already knew something like that was the case. It's got like antlers or horns coming out of his thing. Yobu the Demon, as they call him. I think one of them's broken. Yeah, on my first playthrough of this, I already knew about the shouting thing, so I was like, well, I'm gonna change. I know the game's been in Japanese up to this point, but we need to change to the English translation for reasons that will become apparent. Also, can I see where they're going? That's our horse, right? I don't know what's going on with this spear, something like that. Sure. A bit Ornstein-y, but we'll go with it. I think he's fluffy. I think he's got like quite fluffy armor. I don't know why I say that, but I feel like it's true. No, horses, not horses again. Why do you always make me draw horses? It's got a little Shetland pony. Did we learn the horse's name? I don't know if we ever learned the horse's name. He used to go to the bathroom, by the looks of it. Today I learned that you can Pavlovian train a horse to pee. I always make myself draw horses. There's never. This was always your fault. Apparently the technique is that while it's peeing, you like whistle. You just like whistle a sort of steady note while they're peeing. And you do that as, you know, all the time they're peeing. You just keep doing that over and over again. And with enough time, you can sort of Pavlovian train it so that whenever you whistle, it'll feel like it needs to go to have a pee. How did I find that out? There's a podcast called No Such Thing as a Fish. They look at weird facts around the world. And I think the fact was something about they're rebuilding a historical building, and in order to do that, they need horse pee because they want to build it the way it was built before. And they needed to get it from a horse somehow. That's how they found that out. Look at this. It's scared. This horse is scared. Look at it. It's got knobbly knees. It's shaking. Oh, I've lost my color. Like that. But yeah, if you want to learn weird facts from around the world, No Such Thing as a Fish is a good one. Good podcast. Can recommend. It's made by the some of the people who used to be research, or I think some of them still are researchers on QI. If you like that show, it's good. It's been going for a while. Big podcast. Perspective. Okay, Kyuubi anywhere. Honestly, as a fight, you use your grapple in the fight. That's kind of fun. I think that's the first time you do that in a fight. This is more of an animal fight than a person fight. A lot of running around, a lot of hitting, not much blocking. Blocking is mostly for the purposes of not getting hit rather than the purposes of breaking down their defenses. So, yeah, blocking rather than parrying, basically. It's basically just the fact that he shouts his name so loud, and he has a horse. I'm not amazingly keen on this, but I don't really have any issues with it, so I'm going to put it sort of, well, that sounds like a very average description, so I'll put it in a very average spot. After that, we have another animal, specifically a bull, which I now need to make look different to the horse. This is the blazing bull. Poor thing. It's just got a bundle of hay on its head that's on fire. I was like, I don't like this. So you have to kill it. I believe this is a historical truth. That they used to do things like this. Just set fire to a bull's head and then unleash it on the enemy. Freak him out, wouldn't it? This one's like, no, I don't like this. What's going on? Fire! Now I want to draw Tori with this on his head. I could have done that. Did you know you could train bulls to pee on command? No, I don't know if you can. This is an interesting boss. It's very unlike... It's like the most animal-y of the animal bosses, in as much as it's an animal. But also because you just cannot fight it at all in the way that you can regular human enemies, because it's just like, it's running around, it's relentless, it won't stop, and it's just going to keep running into you because you're in the way, and oh my god, fire! So you just have to chip damage, you have to run around, you have to... there are actually several different ways of fighting this, apparently. The only way I found that was successful was just running round and round and round in circles, following it and hitting it in the backside. Scaring it with firecrackers as well is always handy. It's already scared, poor thing. It's also a boss that makes you feel bad for killing it, because it's not his fault. It's got fire on his head, it's scared. You can't skip this boss, not without glitches. I have seen this boss skipped with glitches. In fact, in order to skip this boss with glitches, you can swim in the air. So that's fun. I think it's a spectacle boss. It's not a particularly fun one to execute, at least the way I do it, because it's just a lot of running around in circles. It's a lot of running from vomit, kind of, but active vomit that's following you around and is on fire. I like the spectacle of this. It's not a difficult fight once you know what you're supposed to be doing. It's a time. It's a one and done. I don't have an issue with this. Yeah, spectacle. We'll go. Yeah, we'll put it headless-ish. Same sort of thing. More about the spectacle than the fight. This gets you into the main building, the Ashina Castle. There's a bunch of bosses in here, I think. There's... come on, brain. Which ones do you fight first? You've come back to this place several times and there are different bosses in it. My brain's all confused. There's the one that's got an enemy and the kicky person. I don't think you do that yet. Do you do that yet? Maybe. There's also the Ichimonji guy. Okay, let's do the ones I remember and then we'll go from there. Oh, hang on. You don't fight a glutton yet, do you? Oh, in the dream. Okay, well, I've almost forgot about the dream. Or the memory, I should say. We'll do that later. But for now, let's do Kickman. I can't remember what these are. I think they're called like the lone swords? I can't remember what they're called. Lone something. Lone shark. What do they look like? I can't remember. They kick you a lot. There's a bunch of these in the game. They're quite satisfying to fight. There's not many moves they have, but I remember this is one of the enemies that's like, yeah, I've learned them to the point of, you know, being able to do them perfectly, which isn't me boasting, but it's one of those things where it's like, that's doable, right? There's a lot of bosses where that's not really doable. not for most people anyway. Certainly not for me. Is it Lone Swordsman? Lone... This is annoying me now. I'm going to give them like a kind of veil-y thing. I don't know why. They're like ninjas. They look like ninjas. Lone ninja. You watch. The word lone isn't going to be anywhere near. There are various types. Some of them have poison on their feet. I don't know how that works. They punch you as well. That makes more sense. I think they're wearing those slipper things. Sure they have a name. I don't know what it is because I'm bad. They're in black, so I might as well emphasize that. Some of them come with dogs, so that's fun. The one in the castle is just, he kicks you in the face and he has a friend in the corner who hides. I don't know. This is an enemy. It's fun to learn. Kind of good to execute. It's alright. It's pretty good. You? B. Go B. Why not? Just a guy with a sword does the job. Speaking of guy with sword, who'd have thought there's a guy with a sword? This is the most gimmicky non-gimmick boss that I can possibly think of anywhere in this series. This is an enemy that I think feels like it only has one attack. You shouldn't be holding the sword like that. You should be. I can't draw. Hang on. Let me just learn how to draw a sec. Then I'll be back with you. So this is an enemy which has one attack, basically, where they have a sheathed sword, then they pull it out and go swish swish. And the idea of this is you learn that timing, you see the flash when they're about to pull the sword out, and you block block. And then you do it again, block block, and then you do it again, block block, and then you hit them. Because they've had enough of it and they got tired and they're like, oh no, he beat my one move. Here's the flash. It's a little bit Solid Snake. Don't worry about it. That's what happens when you put on a bandana. Little bit Noodle the Box. So yeah, you just find this in a side room. You fight him. There's a couple like this. Some of them have red eyes. I don't think you fight this button now, actually. Now that I think about it. Doesn't matter. Move your top on. That's why not. I think he's wearing a sort of kimono thing. It's light blue, but I can't really put that in this drawing. This flash remind me what I'm talking about. I think you're also quite old as well. 2 lines under the eyes, that's old. Yeah, this is kind of silly. Um, this is honestly just a gate to say, are you sure you've learned how to block in this game? How to parry? Because you're gonna need it. And it's like the simplest enemy to learn in the game. You just get that timing, you just go ching ching, ching ching, ching ching, stab. It's maybe the only enemy in the game with one attack. It's kind of fun, kind of silly. Now I say it out loud. Honestly, I'm never disappointed to see these because I know exactly what's going to happen. So I can't really put it low. But it's also just like, I guess it does the one thing it wants to do well. So it is satisfying. That's fine than that. Yeah, but it's not really. Nothing to write home about. Wouldn't want it removed, but nothing to write home about. Right, we now get to the top of the tower. Once we've done the top of the tower, remind me, dream, memory, whatever. We find Genichiro again, don't we? Genichiro, first phase is the same as the fight that we had before. So I'm not going to draw that again. Second phase, more interesting. Because he's gone all lightning and he took his shirt off. Pling, pling, plong, pling, plong. Yeah, mess around with poses on this one because I've got to... Got the power of Tomoe, the way of Tomoe. Still got his old bedraggled locks. Genichiro. Still grumpy boy. Neat. This is a gimmick fight. Learn to jump when he slashes with the electricity, and then attack in midair, and then you'll fling the electricity back, and the fight will basically be over. Other than that, it's mostly like phase 1, I think, if I recall. It's phase 1 now with electricity, which makes sense, because it's the same guy. Nips. I remember when this game came out and they were like, oh, I can't wait for the Tomoe DLC. Because obviously that story is going to get resolved. You may have noticed there is no DLC. Does he have... I'm sure he has some sort of leggings on. I don't know. Not just going out there fully nude. Socks. Okay, Genichiro 2. Not as fun as Genichiro 1. Actually, hang on. No, you know what? Genichiro 1, I'm gonna put you higher. You're a good. It's a satisfying fight. Genichiro phase 2, not really. Again, it's a gimmick. You could just sort of kill it with lightning. Comes back later. Again, you fight it again later. You fight him again later, and he's got a couple more moves. I guess maybe it's worth taking that into account. It's still kind of fun. It's just not as good because it's the more stuff it's got going on makes it more trivial in a weird way. But yeah, eventually he's going to get his cool sword. and have more attacks. I guess I'll incorporate that into this. It's technically a different boss fight, and it's the start of a boss fight for a different boss. But I'm not drawing him again. So, you know, stuff. But hey, still got, like, you know, B+. It's not bad. Okay, cool. That's done. Let's do the dream before I forget the memory. There's a guy with a spear. I think he has one of those sort of headdress things on. This is a nice long thin spear this time rather than a big bulky one like Yobu. And basically this guy teaches you, hey, have you heard about this thing? This ability you can have. Called Mikiri counter. Yeah, you probably need that. That's not a hand, Chris. Whatever. Whatever will hand will hand. This guy's got like robes and stuff. But yeah, this is essentially Mikiri counter the fight. But hey, there's an added gimmick. There's an added gimmick, everyone. There really is. Yes. And do you want to know what the gimmick is? The gimmick is this guy is in an open area with like 7 other enemies. And you know how I feel about multi-enemy fights. If you haven't seen the previous streams, I say I'm not a fan of multi-enemy boss fights. Several hundred times. So this is going pretty far down the list. Honestly, this is just an enemy. They gave it a health bar because it's the first time you fight it. You'll fight it a lot of times just normally. So you also know how I feel about that. Again, Elden Ring coming soon. So you're going pretty far down, I think. I'm not even entirely sure you have a name, so you're not even gonna go that high. Yeah, no, you're just annoying. You're just a nuisance. Go away. I don't like you. Leave. How dare you? That takes us up to the Glutton? Glutton. I think Glutton. Is it Glutton? Drunkard? One of the two. Glutton the Drunkard. Which is basically a sumo wrestler with a massive sword. These guys fight differently. They're kind of a Frame Man. Not on my end. Has Frame Man invaded your computer? Oh no. Or Twitch. Maybe Twitch. Oh dear. That's alright, nothing interesting's happening. Yeah, Glutton, Drunkard, whatever they're called. These are sumo wrestlers. They've got kind of an interesting moveset. They're kind of... You can treat them like a person, but I tend to find more success in treating them like an animal boss. A lot of running around. A scruffy hair, as I recall. They come in a variety of flavors. There's a fire one, there's a poison one. How does human body work? They all have a good old squat. They know how to squat. I've never really got on with this boss. It's not bad. I just never really learned how to properly do it. It always feels quite unforgiving to me. In a boss that's all about trying to learn the timings of things. Got like a big old sword. They spit things at you as a sort of gimmick, which is annoying. The first one of these fights is in an arena with like 10 other enemies again. What is it with this area than having arenas with multiple enemies? It's bad. Stop doing that. Yeah, no sort of svelte, fast attacking going on here. This is a brute of an enemy. Not terrible to fight. Not really my favorite. I'm always like, whenever I try and fight these, I'm always like, ugh. Come on. One day I will learn how to fight you properly. Until then. Wow, the proportions on this are just quite something. Sure, we'll go with go with that. You deserve no more of my time. This is not that bad. Not that bad. Gearby levels. Feels Gearby. Yeah, why not? Kind of interesting, but not particularly great. The proportions are interesting. I can draw. I'm a professional drawer. By which I mean I hold objects that you don't need anymore. This then leads to Lady Butterfly. Lady Butterfly's cool. She's neat. I like her. I want to know more about her story. She's like, I helped train you, and you're just as annoying now as you were then. I am a master of illusion. I can make illusory monkeys. Why monkeys? Don't ask questions, boy. Don't know what's going on with this face either. I want to do the thing where it's like sort of stretched monkey up a little bit. I know what I mean by this. I don't need your confirmation or chastisement. Got all interesting side characters that you care about more than the main plot. Exactly. Yeah, she's neat. She throws things at you. She makes illusions, which basically run from the vomit. She has a lot of jumping, a lot of acrobatics. You can get her to clip out of bounds, which is always fun. Honestly, the most annoying thing about her is her music. I can ignore most of the soundtrack in Sekiro. It's not really my kind of thing. Don't hate it. It's alright. It does the job. It does the job of setting the scene, making it feel actiony when it needs to be actiony, and making it feel nice and Japanese in flavor. But there's something about this boss fight music that is just... Well, I know exactly what it is. There's an instrument in it that just does not stop playing. It's playing constantly. Eighth notes. And they sound drunk. They don't know where they're going. It has no semblance of structure or melody. It's just it's like a bee in your ear. The whole bee inside your ear. I don't know if she has swishy clothes. She should. This is a fun fight to learn. It's a fun fight to, well, is it a fun fight to learn? It's a fun fight to execute. Good use of prosthetics for this one. It's very different to anything else in the game in terms of moves. it does feel like this might be the first boss in the game that feels like you're more learning how to trick the AI than it does you're fighting a person. But don't like the old idea of a whole bee inside your head. You shouldn't. You are correct in that not liking. Disapproval does you well. Your judgment has been confirmed. Speaking of, one of our security guys found a huge ass wasp dead behind the admin building. Oh, how big? I find dead wasps like in my conservatory all the time. The spiders catch them and eat them. But I'm assuming by the fact that that is an anecdote that it was a pretty big one. Her butterflies, her titular butterflies are annoying because they sort of chase you around, but that's nothing that Lothric and Lorien didn't have. Yeah, a bit of running from the vomit, but otherwise satisfying, I think. Pretty good. Pretty solid. Not as good as Genichiro, in my personal opinion, but an interesting gimmick. Kind of a fun time. You can go here with Genichiro 2. Makes sense. Good times. Okay, that's the memory done. Now I've got to go back to the main game and remember things. What can you do now? Now the game splits, so my brain is just going to explode. There's the underwater headless. I'm not going to... It's less interesting than the overwater headless. It's called a cicada killer, and it's thick as his fingers. How thick are the fingers? But yeah, that does seem... There was the whole killer wasp thing going on, wasn't there? In America. Don't know if that's still happening. What a cicada killer. Guess that makes sense. What do we have now? Yes, we can split off here in various directions. We can go down into the prison. Yeah. Or dungeon, I should say. So we can do that. You can go to the dungeon. That takes you to Senpu. Senpo. Armored Warrior? I guess. There isn't a boss in between, is there? No, I guess. Okay, cool. Armored Warrior. Oh, that's big. That's a pretty big one. I assume that's inches on the scale. For reference, an inch is about 3 centimeters. That's pretty big. So, yeah, Armored Warrior. Armored Warrior is another one of those characters that has lore. So this is a character that's like weird because they're in armor. And that's not done here. That's not the done thing. I've also got to remember how to draw the armor. But also has lore because you've picked up a thing before called Robert's Firecrackers. And this is Robert's dad? I'm not entirely sure how things work. Basically, this is a concerned father who came to this place to try and find a way of curing his terminally ill son, or making him immortal. And he's like, I'm on this bridge now. And you're like, I need to get over this bridge. He says, this is my bridge! And then you knock him off the bridge, because you can't hurt him, because he's in massive amounts of armor. Which I can't draw. He's got a big old sword. He's basically like his strength defense build in a Dark Souls game. Big old sword, big heavy armor, etc. And you're here with a tiny plinky little Uchi or whatever. And you've got to find some way of beating this boss. And you can't. What you have to do is you have to make him stagger and fall off the bridge. It's a gimmick boss. It's a pretty tough gimmick boss, honestly. If you don't know the gimmick, but even if you do know the gimmick, it's pretty hard because he hits hard. Hits very hard. Has some good slam attacks. Again, I like the lore that this character actually has backstory. It didn't need to. but I guess it's good to answer the question of, like, why did they travel all the way to Japan? I think they're from Spain? Might be wrong. It's very European armor, so I had to explain it somehow. But yeah, covered just head to toe in armor. Impenetrably so. Then when he falls off the bridge, he goes, Roberto! I guess his son's named Roberto rather than Robert. It's a gimmick boss. It's fine. It's kind of fun. It's interesting. I like it when a boss like this that really doesn't have anything to do with the main story and is just a mini boss that's in the way. It's got a fun gimmick, but it exists in the world, right? And that's cool. It's not just like, and then you fight this and forget about it. No, this is a character. He's here for a reason. He has hopes and dreams and is trying to help his ill son. Deal with that. Deal with the consequences of your actions, player. Bob. Yeah, you can't really shout that while you're falling down a ravine and make it sound epic. Bob! Doesn't quite work. Doesn't have the same ring. Need at least 2 syllables, I think. So, Armored Warrior. Again, not really a fun fight per se, a bit of a panic for me. But interesting. Yeah, it could have been really boring. They could have just made it real boring, but they didn't. They put effort into it. They thought about it. Good for them. Fun gimmick. Well, let's look at where other gimmick bosses have gone that I like that aren't. It's not as good as the Witches of Hemwick. As a gimmick. Gabe, yeah. Gabe's pretty. The design's not as cool. Can't see any other gimmick bosses. I'm gonna put it bull, headless bull. Sure. I like the character. I kind of feel about pretty much the same way about the fight as I do Gyobu, but I like the character of the Armored Knight more because Gyobu has history as well, but it's just not interesting. I made a little square to show the size of what the drawing should be, then continuously go over to have scaled it. Yeah, the problem is everyone has long swords in this game. Everyone's carrying a bloody sword. Anyway, here's a boss that doesn't carry a sword. 4 bosses, in fact, and I only need to draw 3. But they are monkeys, and I don't know how to draw monkeys. These are the folding screen monkeys. They're actual monkeys. Very much like, this is the gimmickiest of gimmick bosses. You don't fight them. What do monkeys look like? Like that? Is that a monkey? Yeah, there's like 3 of these. There's 4 of them. 3 of them are visible. 1 of them is invisible. And they are the old see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, do no evil. And so they sort of have a gimmick associated to each of them. One of them's hard of hearing, and so you have to sneak up on it quietly, or make a loud noise elsewhere to make it so that he doesn't hear you coming along. There's one that can't really see very well, so if you get them in the dark, you can sneak up on them. There's one that is invisible. So they're invisible. I guess that's do no evil. They don't do anything. They just follow you around, being invisible. And I don't know what speak no evil is all about. The gimmick is a little fuzzy. I don't really know how it works. Basically, you just got to try and get hold of them where possible. And there's like another one here. I've got a cone around his head, I think. Draw them like weird skeletons. That's not right. I think this is Hear No Evil. So the fact this guy's holding a hand up to his ear is not helpful. Have I ever drawn a monkey? I'm not entirely sure I've ever drawn a monkey, and this shouldn't come as a surprise to you if you're watching what I'm drawing right now. Folding Screen Monkeys is a gimmick boss whose gimmick I don't know how many times I've played this game. I still don't understand it. How to do it. I wouldn't be able to explain to somebody how to do this fight, so not that successful, all things considered. I admire them for trying. It's different. It's kind of cool. They're like guardians of the Sacred Child, or whatever she's called. And they're rather than just being strong, they're just elusive. You gotta be smart to get through them. Smart and strong, I suppose. No, I like the idea of them more than I like them. That's not a good sign. It's a gimmick not done well, I don't think. So it can't go that high. Get down here. Is that cruel? Well, they got Shadows of Yharnam. That kind of feels like it fits. E. I gotta, yeah, put them solid E. I thought it'd be nicer to them, but honestly, no. Like, they're kind of an interesting idea. It's just not good. Yeah. Yeah, the idea is interesting. Maybe they should get more points for the idea being interesting, because a lot of the stuff down here doesn't have an interesting idea. Let's go up a little bit. Yeah, I would be upset if they were removed. I want them to be improved, but I think the game is more interesting for them being there. So, what are you gonna do? After that, you get to the Divine Child. That's what she's called. Is there anything else in Senpu I've forgotten? I think so. No. Giraffe. Giraffe. They're called Giraffe? What are they called? One of them's called Giraffe. What are the rest of them called? Centipede? They're not called centipedes. Are they called centipedes? How do you draw them? So these are weird. There's some sort of cult thing going on here. These people sort of wrapping themselves in bandages and putting spikes on their backs and crawling around on the floor like weird people. Oh, they have, yes, sorry, they have big old slashy claws. Because they go swing, 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 swing. I know the timings. They are ingrained into my brain. I was like, what have I become? I'm a monster. I got spikes coming out the head as well. They're all spiky, I don't know why. And these are one of the weird enemies that's like, I don't think they have lore, but they really should. Because I don't know what else to say about them. They're weird people. Why are they weird? Stop being weird, it's weirding everybody out, you weirdos. It's like long arm centipede or something like that. Long arm centipede giraffe rings a bell, and there's long arm centipede Kevin. I don't know their names. I don't know why one of them's called giraffe. Yeah, these are, you know, the sword guy, the one that just goes swing swing. Where is he? Down here? No, that's the guy. Where's swing swing man? Here you are. This is swing swing man, right? Here's the gimmick, he's only got one move and he goes swing swing. And you just learn that timing. This boss is that, but faster and for longer. Only really has 2 attacks, but those attacks happen with very specific timing. I seem to recall, like, when the game was first released, a bunch of reviewers, I think maybe at IGN, said that this boss is basically impossible. And yet, it is one of the bosses that I could very confidently, easily do perfectly now, having not played the game for years, because it's just a matter of learn the timing, you can do it perfectly. Have you learned to deflect yet? You know, it's panic that will get you. This is the boss that will kill you with panic. And it's weird, and it's interesting. It's not amazingly satisfying to fight. There's not a lot of problem solving involved. Phase 2 has, like, throws in another attack that's slightly similar to the first, but is basically the same, just to throw you off a little bit. They're weird. I like them. They're weird. Again, still not inside the box. Doesn't have a sword this time, but still not inside the box. Yeah, they're weird. I like them. Weird. As satisfying. No, I can't put that high. Am I putting Lady Butterfly higher than Moon Presence? That doesn't feel right at all. I'll put you there. I'm I'm revising earlier opinions. I'm gonna bring you down. Genichiro Phase 2, same thing actually. Moon Presence is just too cool. For them to be higher. Still, it's not a great fight, but then again, neither are those. So, well, Butterfly is a better fight, I think. Butterfly is actually a satisfying fight, but it also does have the multiple enemy thing, a lot of running from vomit. What are you gonna do? So, music's gotten loud. Fume Knight, nice. So, what did I just draw? Oh, Centipede, yes, I've done that now. It's been a while since I played this game. My memory is not what it used to be. Okay, so we've done Senpu. There's like 3 ways you can go, right? Is that you can go down. Oh, let's do Shichiman. How the hell do you draw Shichiman? I don't know what it is. Okay, Shichiman means like 7 faces, right? So it's gonna give us 7 faces in no particular configuration. Smiley face, grumpy face, dark face. Get more sensible about this. Probably has some sort of masky thing going on. And I'm gonna draw it like speaking of confetti, this is one of those bosses. Confetti is very useful. It's a ghost sort of thing. I don't exactly know what the deal is with these guys. They're a bit like the Headless, in the sense that you better be using confetti because they're a ghost and they will wreck you. And they shoot dead souls Dead souls? Yes, dead souls. Whew. At you and jump around and spin. And these are like balls of faces. Whoa. Whoa. And they do little jumps and swish in the air. Lots of these orbs around them. As opposed to a live souls. Yeah, I guess so. I guess if you count into the idea of a soul, then there's, I guess, a living soul and a dead soul. Oh, but then it's like, what happens if you... Presumably the soul is separate from the body, right? So would a dead soul be a soul from a dead body, or would it be like still in a living body but be dead as a soul? I don't know. This is a bit Kingdom Heartsy for me. I don't know what the Shichimen look like, frankly, and I don't want to know. These are kind of gimmick bosses. They're again, they're just panicky to fight. I'm gonna put them wherever the headless are because they're a new sort of headless. Nice spectacle though, with all these weird balls and jumping around, and you can kill them with a mid-air thing while they're jumping, which is quite fun. And yeah, it's quite nice to have a boss where I'm like, I fought this I don't know how many times. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it looks like. It's just a thing. And it's scary. Where was headless? Headless. Go there. Oh no, yeah, more of a spectacle. Well, I need more gradation in this system. No, I'm gonna put you a little lower. I find you a bit more annoying, and I feel like headless should probably also go lower. This is a lot of revisions going on here. I just don't want to put so many things in C, even though, you know, by the nature of the bell curve, things are going to be in C. That's what happens. Okay, Shichimen done. We then go further into the thing. We have Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes are cool. I think they're like a clan of like all-female warriors and stuff, and they carry cannons. They fire cannons in your face. They're very fast with swords. No, hang on. No, they hit you with the cannon. They hit you with the cannon, don't they? They attack you with the cannon and then shoot you in the face with it. Which, I mean, is pretty cool, right? Also, I think quite a fun... I was about to say a fun boss to learn. That's not true. I seem to recall actually learning this boss to be a bit of a pain. But once you've learned it, it's a good fight. It's a challenge to get the timing right, particularly if you want to parry a grab, which is a thing you can do. The game doesn't tell you can do it, but I'm not here to criticize the game mechanics. We'll be here for a bit longer. Hi, Kiro! How you doing? Welcome to Snake Eyes. They fire cannons at you. How you doing? You having a good day? Yeah, these are tougher than they have any right to be honest. Sorry, late. No apologies, you arrive precisely when you arrive. No sooner, no later. No sooner, no earlier. I hope you're doing well. Hope the chores are all good. By which I mean done, and you don't have to think about them again. Yeah, we're getting through Sekiro. There's only so many ways I can draw a person with a sword, so bear with me. Yeah, Snake Eyes. The first one of these you fight. Well, it depends which way you go, I guess. You either find them in a poison swamp. There are a bunch of enemies in that swamp, but you can do the fight without triggering them, so that's fine. Or you fight them in a big old snow mountain area with a bunch of enemies that you can hide away from because you're behind a cliff, so it's fine. For now, how can we get these chores to permanently disappear? That's the question. Snake Eyes are cool. They're cool. Tough to learn. Tough times. Trixie. I don't know why you're holding it there. That seems a very inopportune place to hold it. Close enough. I think you actually hold it closer to the back, but whatever. But yeah, they do a thing where they attack, and then they attack, and then they pull it down and poof, shoot you in the face. Never seen anybody hit me with a cannon before. That's new. I like these. I have fond memories of these. They're no Lady Butterfly, but I guess they are kind of on par with these guys. Maybe, which is making a mockery of my scale. Let's put these lower down. I'm having trouble scaling things. My patented 100% accurate ranking system is coming a cropper. These get to go higher. So yeah, just as a quick recap of what we have so far, Sekiro. We have Genichiro Phase 1. It's pretty high. It's an A. We have Genichiro Phase 2. Goes down to a B because it's just not as interesting. Lady Butterfly is also a B because it's generally pretty good, but slightly annoying in certain ways. Maybe. Can I put it higher? No, I can't. Again, I can't put it higher than Moon Presence. That makes no sense. I have to be a little more strict with this. Maybe Moon Presence should have been higher. Who knows? We have the lone wolves, lone soldiers, one-armed, whatever they're called. They're pretty cool. They do spinny kicks, and it's fun. They're also low B. We have Blazing Bull is sort of CB, C+, B-, as is the Armored Warrior. Fun gimmick, not particularly great actual fight. Snake Eyes, the solid B. Centipedes, they're good but very limited. Kind of routine. Gyobu, the Glutton / Drunkard, Shichimin, and Headless are all at C because they're all kind of interesting but not particularly fun fights. You have the guy who goes swing swing. I don't know what they're called, but I quite like. They're not a fun fight either. They're also routine, but they're less interesting routine than the centipedes. But it's kind of fun to learn and satisfying to do on your first playthrough. Then there's the jumpy guy, the trolls, and the monkeys, and I don't particularly care much for them. There's also the sword guy right at the start of the game. He's a tutorial boss. He's not very good, but he's a tutorial boss. What are you gonna do? You can run past him. He's having a good time down here in E. And then you've got a guy with a spear who is standing in a field of 6 other enemies, and I hate it. So yeah. There's also a guy holding a swordfish up here. He's S rank. Is not in the game though. So, speaking of somebody, actually, hang on, I can repurpose this drawing. There's another enemy I forgot. This is basically the sword guy from before, the one that does jumps. Jumpy sword guy. But instead he has a big spear. I think they might be called like 7 spears or something like that. I don't know why they're called 7 spears. They've only got 1. And there's only like 2 or 3 of them in the game, so... Like the Octothorpe. I don't know why the Octothorpe's called the Octothorpe. It's made of 4 lines and it divides things into 9 regions. But what are you gonna do? The Scalene Tribe. These guys I think I'm right in saying, gave me the most trouble on my first playthrough. But I died to this boss more than I died to anything else. I did eventually work out a way to fight them, and I've forgotten it. So, bodes well for my next playthrough. Yeah, these guys are hard. I died so many times. There's some things you can do with stumbling. If you block certain attacks, you can stumble. Otherwise, you have to just avoid them. And I don't know. They're just hard. They're tricky. They're hard because they're hard in a fair way. They're hard in a way of like, God, they're just hard to learn. They're just They're not hard because they're doing weird animations that trip you up. They're just hard. How many times can I say the word hard? They're hard. But I think ultimately satisfying. I don't really want to put you down with Swing. Higher than that? No. Oh, my scale is just ruined. Yeah, oh no, hang on. Yeah. Put it on par with these guys. Absolutely. Perfect. Yes. Thumerian descendants. They are the Thumerian descendants of Sekiro. That is a 100% accurate statement. I will not be pedaling back from at any time in the future. 7 spears, screw them. But also they're good when you know how to do them. So, yes. That's the thing. Next. We went down into the well again. We thought there was another lone guy. That's where I got the Shichiman from. We jump down into a hole. We fight the snake eyes. We go through the arena that contains the apes later, but we'll do those later. We then enter into the misty place, which means we have Mist Noble. I'm trying to remember this game. Mist Noble has got a little hat, I guess. The little things. I think he's got a little moustache. Playing the flute. With very long fingers. Miss Noble's like a slug. I say like a slug, it's basically a slug. But he plays the flute very nicely. This isn't a boss. I'm going to include it because it has a health bar. And it is unique. But it's not a boss because it's not supposed to be a boss. It is just basically a kind of copy of the enemies that you meet later in the game, but this is very much the first time in the game you see anything like this. And it's supposed to be a bit like the Celestial Emissaries in Bloodborne, where it's like the first time you see them, you're like, what am I looking at? And you come up to this boss and you're in a room and you're like, this is a weird, is this a boss? Is this going to kill me? And then the thing comes up, the boss health bar, and you're like, oh god, what is this thing? What does it do? Oh my god! And then you attack it, and then it dies. This is like the easiest boss in any Souls game. I cannot think of a boss that's easier than Miss Noble. They are literally a joke. Oh, hang on, these are like tentacle things, aren't they? This is fairly accurate, right? Do they have like scraggly hair? Maybe. How do you rank a boss that isn't a boss? I don't want them removed because they're fun, but by which I mean like, you know, I put a lot of stock into first experiences. The first time you come across this thing, you're like, oh god, what is it? What is this thing? This is weird. Is it gonna kill me? Oh no! And if you do like stand back, it can do the thing where it cripples you, and that is an interesting mechanic. But if you most people, they just jump in, start attacking, and is dead. I kind of, it's interesting. It's an interesting thing. Where can I find an equivalent to something that's interesting but not actually interesting fight? It's not Witches of Hemwick. Not really, no. I guess it's a bit like the Celestial Emissaries? Maybe? I don't want to put everything in C. It's like the Celestial Emissary, but a little bit... Because it doesn't actually have a fight. Proper fight. How did I put the easiest and hardest bosses literally right next to each other? How does that work? What is this ranking system? It's baloney. Absolute nonsense. Fire this person. They do not know what they're talking about. Right. Anyway, after Miss Noble, you have the first version of the Corrupted Monk. I will just do the Corrupted Monk because the first version of the Corrupted Monk is just the first phase of the other Corrupted Monk fight. So this has the mask, right? Which is like... horns. The weird old mask. It's a good ranking system. It makes zero sense. But I'm here for a good time, not for a sensible time. The Corrupted Monk is... Am I going to say one of my favourite fights in the game? Maybe. This was the first fight. If you go back and watch my first playthrough, somebody came in to the stream partway through my attempts at this and said, oh, if you use ash, you can make them flinch, and if you use snap seeds, it will do damage to them, and so on and so forth. I was like, thank you very much for helping, but this is a fight I wanted to learn. This is a fight to learn. This is a good fight to learn. I was just finding satisfaction. I was dying a lot, but I was finding satisfaction in just learning it and getting it, nailing it, getting it, all the timings right, and it going well. A couple of issues with the more sophisticated one later on in the game, in as much as you can entirely skip its second phase by stabbing it in the head. So I haven't really fought the second phase, which is a shame because it's kind of cool. It's got like an illusion thing going on, but sort of wet nurse sort of thing. And phase 3 is a bit like phase 1, just with added centipedes. Which is not amazing, but it's not the end of the world. There's a lot of swings, a lot of swishes. There's a glaive, I think, so it's probably like a long pole with a thing on the end of it. There's a lot of nice timing. This is a good sort of... In a game whose combat is all about timing, this is a good timing boss. And that's a good sign. I like it. I love the design. The design is precisely what I would expect from a From Software Japanese mythology-oriented thing. And yeah, it's good. I like this fight. It's grand. Up with Genichiro? Oh yeah? No. With German? Maybe. With Gale? Yeah. Yeah. I like this fight. This is good. Sekiro's got some good stuff in it. Satisfying. This is a satisfying fight to learn. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Marvelous. She also teaches you how to swim. That's nice. You do that, you get the thing. Then you can go the other way and you can fight some stuff. We've already done a Snake Eyes. No, hang on. Jump down there to say hello to Snake. Which one? This game, I haven't played it in a while, and it's non-linear in this part of the game, so it's yeah, Snake Eyes, Centipede, Big Snack, Fish. You run past the area where I missed the key in a randomizer. You can go further down and do more snake stuff, but I don't think there's a boss down there. No. Okay, so we just go straight to Headless. No, not Headless. Guardian Ape. Are we going to count Guardian Ape and Headless Ape as separate fights? Because they have nothing like each other. But they are like phase 1 and phase 2. But then you fight them later together. So... okay, yeah, sure, why not? I've got to draw another monkey. Or an ape, I should say. Okay, so Guardian Ape. This is just an ape. Minding their own business. And a bit like they're from The Simpsons in this story. And you come along. Start fighting them because you want its flower. It wants to keep the flower. It has a lady to court. They are cultivating a flower so that they can give it to their betrothed. And here you are, trying to take it off them. They also have a sword in their neck, which is not pleasant. Somebody's been here before and they tried to kill this thing first. They didn't succeed, but it still has the sword in its neck. This thing, I want to say something along the lines of this thing is crap, by which I mean, it literally throws poo at you. That is one of its attacks. Hits you in the face, builds up poison. And by poo, I mean its poo. It fresh from the source, plucks it mid-fight. Good old mid-fight poo harvest. This is a frantic boss. I still don't really know how to deal with this. Very much the animal side of the fights as opposed to the person's side, which makes sense. It's an animal. This is why I call it the animal and person side. Because there be animals and there be persons. It's interesting, it's different, there's a lot of movement going on. Not a lot of blocking, just a lot of attacking, trying to stay away when you need to stay away, stay close when you need to stay close, learning all this wild flails. There's no, like, decorum to this fight, it is just, you know, you gotta deal with whatever this thing throws at you. It's kind of interesting, not my favorite, but it works, does the job. Nothing I really find annoying about it. I'll put it on the same level as Blazing Bull. That makes sense. Then you cut its head off, and it doesn't like that. It's a little centipede in there. They've come to say hi. Hello. I live here now. Yes, centipedes inside you. Finding an entrance where they can. So yeah, you cut this thing off with the sword in its own neck. Cut this thing's head off. Did I say head, or did I just say cut this thing's off? My brain is melting. It's very warm. Also, I'm still on a sort of anxiety come down. The anxiety itself is over, you'll be glad to hear, but... this is more... I guess this is like hybrid person and enemy fight, because it has a sword, it attacks you with a sword, you can deflect the sword, learning those timings is good. But it moves so strangely. It moves so weird. The animations of this thing are peculiar, and I love it. Because it's like... It's being controlled from within. This is no longer a monkey you're fighting. This is a monkey body being piloted by something strange. And it just sort of jerks and flails and does weird wibbly wobbly being pulled in strange directions. Hats off to the design team on this one. This was a good job. It also carries around its own head and occasionally screams at you by putting its head back on the stump and screaming through it, which is... what a design. That is a horrific thing, and you know it's horrific because it causes terror. And in this game, if you have too much terror, you just die. Lovely, I know, it's such a horrible thing. Borderline Bloodborne. You know, this was the first original game that these people designed after Bloodborne. They did Dark Souls 3, but that's Dark Souls 3. I really, really like the design of this. The fight itself is fine. It's not bad. It's alright. A lot of running from the vomit. It's just, in this case, vomit is screaming undead head stuck on stump. It's cool. This is a cool boss. Cool, interesting. I cut its foot off. I apologize. So I'm going to put it... That's a precarious place to be put. Sorry, Guardian Ape. Am I going to put it... Yeah. This deserves a place just for what it is. It's good. Sorry about being impaled on the... This is the problem with having swords in this game. Then you have, just as an aside... Then you have Headless Ape and their wife. Remember me saying that Ape was courting another ape? Well, they've come back, and they're not too happy that you cut their husband's head off. You know what I'm gonna say. I don't even have to say it. Next, do the thing. Multiple enemy fights bad, particularly when it's a multiple enemy fight of two bosses you've already fought. It is interesting that they do have different AI. However, both AI are annoying. So, both AI are already a handful when you fight them one-on-one, let alone two-on-one. It's a thing. And then again, multiple enemy fights aren't bad, I just don't like them. I don't find them enjoyable. Right, all that stuff done, what's new? You go back to the castle, there's a bunch of new enemies been put in there, there's a new troll, there's a new glutton, there's, I think, another sword person, I'm not entirely sure. But then you go and fight Owl. How many more bosses are there? Not too many, I don't think. Again, like I say, I just listed 3 off that we don't have to draw, so. Owl 1. Annoyingly, Owl 1 looks very much like Owl 2, so this is going to be fun. Owl is your father, or your adopted father at least. And taught you all the tricks of the trade, and as a consequence can do basically everything you can do, but better. Sneaky fight, throws a lot of things. I guess this is the point at which the story can split. So before this, I should have done Emma and Ishin. But I'll come back to that. But yes, Owl is I don't know what to say really about Owl. Keep on drawing us silly. Think you're gonna hop off now? Your brain's getting too tired. Oh no! But I will draw a dragon in a bit. But have a wonderful week. Enjoy tiredness. Or don't enjoy tiredness. Enjoy getting rid of tiredness. Bye. Yeah, my memories of Owl are hazy. But I'm pretty confident in saying that this is like one of the best fights in the game, probably. This is just extremely good. There's lots of things to learn, lots of things to do, lots of things to be paying attention to, different ways of avoiding things. Nothing feels necessarily unfair. This is just a very, very solid fight, I think. This is a terrible drawing, though, isn't it? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Welcome to drawing. But yeah, this is grand. I honestly don't have much to say about it. It's just real good. It's quite fast. They do a kind of Gundyr, where you fight this version and then you can fight a stronger, faster version in their youth later. Which, hang on, I might as well do them both, because they're both as good as each other, to be honest. Am I going to put it in? Yeah, it's an S. See no reason not to call it an S, although I will do it by copying rather than taking. There's that one, and then I'm going to add an owl. An actual owl. Who's all grumpy. I love the concept art for Owl's Owl. It's the best. We will look up the concept art for Owl's Owl at the end of this. Yeah, you get to fight Owl again in the dream. Not dream, memory, sorry. I don't think there's anything else in the memory that's worth mentioning. There's another lone thing. This time they actually have wolves. No, that's about it. So yeah, there's Owl 2, who is just as good as Owl 1. So this is kind of... I'm gonna make it just a little smaller. Put them together. Two owls. The two owls go together. This is just solid Sekiro combat. You want a good Sekiro fight? Owl is where you can go. However, if you choose to side with Owl rather than fighting Owl, you get to fight Emma. Or I guess Emma and Ishin. I should specify at this point, hey, spoilers for Sekiro. I'm drawing all the bosses, what do you expect? Do you think I can remember what she looks like? Absolutely not. Emma the Gentle Blade is a fun fight, actually. I quite like Emma the Gentle Blade. She is tough with certain attacks. A lot of attacking you from the other side of the arena by going swoosh and then getting you in a combo. She's good like that. But I had to defeat her a lot to the point that it became a meme with Miss. It's like, oh, you're gonna kill Emma again, are you? I also like her sword because it's just like it's just there's no like hilt or anything like that. It's just here is blade, here is handle. It's like I knew you were gonna. Why did I teach you about gourds and stuff? No, I don't know what's going on with your hair either. This is Emma, apparently. I got so many bosses to draw. I'm sorry, Emma. You're just gonna look like this now. This Emma or Luke Skywalker, I don't know. But there's Emma, and then there's also Oldition. Oldition, these are phase 1 and phase 2 of the same fight. If you died phase 2, phase 1 you have to do again, so I'm going to consider this the same fight. Oldition is... tough. Real hard. Real hard fight, and not necessarily in the way I like. There's a lot of things where I'm like, I don't know how to avoid this. How do I avoid this? Oh, I don't know. I guess I'll try something different next time, maybe? And then I try something different next time, and that doesn't work, and then I die. And then I could try something different next time, and then I die. Still don't know how to avoid the fire. There's a lot of fire attacks. I've seen people do this fight in ways that don't make it look not terrible, which means I'm just playing badly, but I don't have great experiences with this fight, must be said. It's not bad. I don't want to be too negative about it. I prefer Emma's fight. But they do come as a package, so... He's just got a lot of kind of AoE stuff and a lot of swishing of fire and explosions and all these sorts of things. Not necessarily my cup of tea, but not awful. I found it slightly more annoying than Lady Butterfly. So, put it here with the monkey? Yeah, why not? Okay, you've killed Al. What do you do now? You now need to go and see the dragon, which involves going back to Rope Friend, who is the best, who I don't get to draw. Same as Snake. Shame. And then you get to go up to the thing. The Fountainhead Palace. There's another bull there that you can fight. There's somebody who kicks footballs at you. I better draw them, I suppose. I always considered this a gimmick boss because at that point I had mid-air death blow and you can just kill them by jumping when they're jumping and one hit kill, dead. But they sort of... Oh god, why did I choose to... yeah, the land of the fish people. I think this is a fish person. They got a mask on or something. But yeah, this boss's gimmick is to just kick footballs in your face. I don't really want to spend more time drawing you, even though this drawing is awful. Because you're going to go down here. Not that far down, I don't think. Yeah, go with Smiley Man. Why not? What comes next? We have the big carp. We didn't kill the big carp. A couple of headless underwater. Swimming the thing. Dragon. Well, the elders of the dragon. Or whatever. The Elden dragons. They have weird... They're weird. Hello, Doc! How do well? How do you? These guys are weird. They carry around sticks. Just like metal rods. Don't really know what they do with them. Hey, do you remember me talking about avoiding the vomit? Haha, that's all they do. Yeah, how have you been, Doc? Having a good start of the week? Having a good day? Doing stuff? Thank you again for advertising my wares to your Fallout friends. I don't really know what's going on with the bottom half. I think they're just sort of there. This is a gimmick boss. Crowd gimmick boss. Spent the day binging season 3 of The Boys, and they leave it on such a cliffhanger. 'Tis the thing. Cliffhangers are back. What started that? Was it Lost? The resurgence of cliffhangers in popular media? Because they died out for a long time. People just stopped doing them. Cliffhangers are fun. You can do them well. You do a real good cliffhanger. Yeah, you fight like, I think there's 15, 20 of these. I don't know how many there are in the arena. But yeah, the gimmick fight, you have to kill each one once, but they will respawn as a different form of themselves. But you just have to kill each one once and you're good. I can't remember what they look like, I'll be honest. They look old, and like they don't really want to be alive anymore. Immortality's fun. They summon trees that you can jump on and have a very satisfying swing around. It's a good time. Yeah, if you death blow one of these, you spin its corpse around and just take out whoever's in the vicinity. It is a satisfying maneuver. They knew what they were doing with that. But yeah, these are sort of like weird... I can't remember what they're called. Something of the tree or dragon or something. I don't know. Not a clue, never could find Lost. That makes sense. They'd be horny old snake men. They're weird. Strange. Hello there. These are kind of satisfying to fight. They're not a challenge. I honestly forget them in favor of phase 2. So, but I wish them no ill will. I guess, where did I put monkeys? Yeah, let's put them down with monkeys. They fit with the monkeys, sure. Dragon. Divine Dragon. This, I think it is generally agreed, is the one the one gimmick boss in that FromSoft has made in any game that people actually like. Like, I like gimmick bosses. Again, Witches of Hemwick. They're an A, as far as I'm concerned. But this is one everyone seems to like. If you're going to do a gimmick boss, this is apparently how you do it. You make it a spectacle. This is by far the most spectacle of spectacles. And my drawing is not going to do it justice. Hey, hey, they're the monkeys. People say the monkey around, but we're too busy running from you to make this an interesting fight. Yeah, and this is also the one time in the soundtrack that I actually really like. Yeah, I'm not going to do this justice, but it's a big sort of tree dragon thing, sort of like woven into the tree. It's a weird thing. It's an interesting design. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Love to see the concept art for this. Ooh, that's going to be fun. I like how that's just a part of these streams now. Let's look at concept art at the end. Yeah, and it's sort of like very sort of Sekiro cherry blossom theme. It's got this weird sword, which is based on, I think, a historical sword. It has like multiple blades coming out of it, makes it look like a cactus. Which is this sort of, it's this game's equivalent of the Moonlight Sword, which has been in basically every FromSoft game since Kingsfield. It's been in more FromSoft games than there have been games that I've played of them. Because of the 4 Kingsfield games, there's like Eternal Ring, sorry, Shadow Towers, a couple of others. Old Dragonmen are the old dragons of the tree. Oh, okay. So there were a bunch of dragons before, and then they turned into that? I don't know. I think it's got 7, right? I also think this dragon only has 1 arm. I think everything in this game only has 1 arm. Also 1 eye, I think. Yeah, it's got 1 eye because you you stabbed the other one. But that 1 eye implies that somebody else has been here before. I'm not doing this justice, but boy, this is a fight. This is well, is it? It's a bit of a procedure. I don't think I've died to this boss before. Maybe I have, don't know. But yeah, it's spectacular. Yeah. That's what it is. Makes you think of a Swordbreaker. Swordbreaker? Know what that is. They tried to become dragons and failed. That's why they get all sickly. I mean, my assumption would have been that they were looking for immortality or whatever. But they tried to become dragons. That makes sense. There's a lot of that in the Souls games as well, isn't there? Dark Souls 3 has that quite heavily, trying to become a dragon. Where am I gonna put this? Like, what is it equivalent to? It's not really equivalent to anything. Like, the fight itself, the fight for a gimmick fight that's all about spectacle, it's not a chore. This is enjoyable to do. I think we might actually have our second S for Sekiro. I can't think of anything wrong with this fight at all. I guess technically third S, but Owl 1 and Owl 2 are very similar, so I'm not gonna... the sword is based off a relic called the Seven Branch Sword. Yeah, cool. I recalled seeing that before Sekiro, and so I was one of the few people who was like, that's kind of familiar, rather than what the hell is that? Cool, so we've done that. Unless there's something I've missed, there's only the final optional boss and the final boss. So everything else is just copies of things we've had before. There's a gift to show the union between Japan and Korea. Oh, marvelous. Was that before or after Japan invaded Korea? Oh my day. Demon of Hatred. Demon of Hatred is Manus. Demon of Hatred is what if Manus was more of a spectacle? It's got the big old squiggly thing. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Thank you, Ragdoll. It's kind of cool. It's an interesting thing. Very much not a weapon to be used, by the looks of it. What if Manus was on fire? Yeah. What if Manus just exploded every 5 seconds? I don't know, how do you draw the... don't know, there's an eye missing as well. This is also kind of an interesting little story thing. This is a character that you've had throughout the entire game, and they've turned into a big monster, and if you've been paying attention, you probably would have realized that was going to happen. Particularly if this is not your first playthrough, and you've done the other ending first. You're like, ah. Yeah, I don't think it was intended to be used, yeah. So... Demon of Hatred. Big old thing. I seem to recall when this is a tough one, both in terms of the boss and in terms of my ranking. It's a real tough fight, this. One that you have to basically learn pretty much perfectly to be able to do, because it's quite long. They got big teeth. You can guess big teeth, right? Kind of big demon face. I remember it has a very thin waist, and then it sort of opens out into a weird spherical groinal area, because that's what you've got to hit a lot of the time. He's a big enemy. You can do the power squat, and send out weird statues to come and attack you, because this guy makes statues. Makes sense. What if Big Fire Hand? I don't like this as much as Manus. I don't think it's a bad fight, but I don't know. A phrase I've said many a time and coined during this series. There's a lot of running from the vomit in this. It's just usually in this particular instance, the vomit is him throwing fireballs at you and or exploding. He does a lot of exploding. But it's not bad. It goes on a bit. It does go on a bit. Looks nonplussed. I don't know, where am I going to put you? That's a question. Manus 3.0, I guess? Did Manus Cleric Beast now this? Was there a Manus in Dark Souls 3? I don't think so. No. Gonna do like there. B2A. It's pretty darn cool. It is a good example of a really cool boss. Doesn't quite click. There's a few too many little niggles for me. No Manus in Dark Souls 3. Was there a Manus in Elden Ring? We'll get there next week. Final boss. There's another Genichiro, but it's basically the same as the other one. There's this one here. He has a cool new sword now, so he can do a couple more slashes, but it's basically the same moveset otherwise. So I won't bother drawing that again. Sword Saint. Sword Saint Ishin, also known as Neckbirth. So here's a weird thing about this boss. Prior to getting the game myself and playing it on stream, this boss was known to me as one of the most difficult bosses in the franchise ever. That it was like, you know, people were spending days trying to get past this thing. The Black Blade is the closest you've seen? I guess, yeah, Malekith. I guess that's the closest we got to Manus, and it doesn't really behave like Manus at all. A lot of jumping around. Or swinging and spinning. Yeah. Sort of, well, its first form is more like Vort. The M name, yeah. You want a big evil monster? Stick an M at the beginning. Yeah, so this was a boss that was like, real tough, real hard, and so on and so forth. This sentence is not meant to make me sound good at the game, because there are plenty of times during this game I showed that that was not the case. But I beat this on my, I guess, second attempt, 1.5 attempt, because there was a power cut during the first one, which I would have lost, to be fair. I think he's got a beard, right? But yeah, I did it on the second attempt. And I think the thing was, and the reason that I've been talking about this, Elden Ring, if your important name begins with G, M, or R. You know, I never made that connection before. George R.R. Martin, GMR. Most, yeah, pretty much. Well, speaking of what, yeah, so Ishin, Sword Saint. Again, I made it on the second attempt. And the reason that I keep hammering this home throughout this thing of like the difference between a person fight and an animal fight is that I treated this boss like an animal. It's not. It's a guy with a weapon. But I treated it like an animal, and it was real easy. I think everybody who finds this hard is trying to treat this like an honorable duel. Don't do that. Run around this thing. Treat it like a bull. Also, he uses a spear. It's called Sword Saint. He uses a spear. What's going on there? And a gun. Got a gun. Give him a cool spear. I don't know what his spear looks like. Surely wasn't intentional. It's a hilarious detail you had not even noticed. I knew there was a lot of things that sounded very similar. The things being confused for other things is a theme of the game. So I knew there was a lot of that overlap, but I never really made the connection that they used things beginning with a GM and R quite a lot. Sword Saint's more of a title than a profession. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't really know how to feel about this, because it's like, it's not really much of a challenge if you treat him like a bull. It's boring as a fight. You know, I've watched people who like give advice on how to fight bosses in these games and all that sort of stuff, and if they ever mention this, they say, well, you can fight it like that, but it's really dull. So I guess I just prefer the consistent dull method over the... Ooh. Oh, that's interesting. The start of Nishandra's music sounds very similar to Vought. Never noticed that before. Must have seen that somewhere because you don't know many Elden Ring names, but this knowledge is not a surprise to you. Yeah, we won't go through them. A lot of Malekiths and Melania, Melina, Millicent. That whole area is just M's. Gideon, Gold Mask, Malekith, etc. Margot, Morgott, Margit, Moog. That wasn't me trying to remember a name, by the way. They are all accurate. Yeah, it's just the thing. What are the R's? Rykard. Oh yeah, also Godfrey. Godric. Godefroy. Bloody Godefroy, honestly. Sword Saint. He has a gun, actually. We'll give him his gun. He has a machine gun. It's a bit weird. But everyone else has guns in this game, so why can't a machine gun exist, eh? One of the bosses attacks you with a cannon. Yes, I don't quite know how to feel about this boss. I've only really fought it as an animal, and as an animal, it's a bit trivial. I hear for some people it's like one of the most interesting, satisfying, and tough fights in any of the games. I just don't have that experience at all. Let's give him a cape. I don't think he has a cape, but he can have a cape. Neck birth is pretty interesting. Mo have a curly hair. It's Moog, unfortunately. I don't think there's a Mo. There probably is a Mo somewhere. Millennia, Radigan, oh yeah, Radan, Renala, Moog, Morgoth, Godwyn, Godric, yeah. Radigan, Marika. So in the opening with Gold Mask and Gideon. There are a few Ds as well, which is interesting, like the Dung Eater and a character just called D. But yeah, if you have difficulty remembering names, Elden Ring's not for you. Sword Saint, I can't put you high, I'm afraid. I treat you like the bull. You're going where the bull is. That's yeah. That's as much as I can do for you, I'm afraid. But there we go. If I turn off the other ones, how are we doing for distribution? That's pretty good. That's pretty good distribution. Mostly positive. Got a couple of S's. A couple of borderline. Genichiro 1 does quite well. Later forms less interesting. Fun stuff over here. All the Ds have pretty long quests too. What's the oh, Mia, right? Deathbed companion. That's another M. Oh, Fia. Oh no, not Mia. Fia. So she's got an F. Different. Strange. Interesting. But yeah, all of the main ones, all the demigods and all that, they're definitely R's, M's, and G's. We'll get to those next week. But for now, that's Sekiro ranked above average, which is not surprising. It is a very good game. It is one of my favorites. It's probably joint with Dark Souls 1. Yeah, probably Bloodborne at the top, Dark Souls 1 and Sekiro for second place. Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring? No, Dark Souls... Probably Dark Souls 2, 3, and Elden Ring are all tied. That's what I'm going for, I reckon. And not to say that they're bad. They're just interesting in their own ways, but they also have their own flaws. No, Elden Ring should be higher than those two, I think. It's got imagination and good mechanics, so... Okay. Bloodborne, Dark Souls 1 and Sekiro, joint second. Elden Ring, third. Dark Souls 2 and 3, joint fourth. Deathbed Companion Fia with her sexy underwear. What? People getting banned for cheating in her undies is the funniest thing. Oh yeah, I was looking for costumes for Malachi for the comic. And I was like, well, he can have the dress. Because that's sort of the most like him in the game. And I was like, does it come with anything else like shoes? Yeah, and we found the we found the underwear that was cut out. Cool. Well, in tradition, let's look up some concept art. What was I going to look up? I was going to look up. Firstly, I will show off Owl. Sekiro Owl concept art, because Owl's owl, for Owl has an owl, a spirit owl, I guess. Not own owl is the best. It's the best thing. Um. Hang on, I've realised I've got to do this in a different way. My apologies. Here we go. Here is Owl from behind, and here is Owl's Owl, who is the best owl. Deathbed companion Smalls. Smalls is a disturbing word. Look at that owl! You don't see it in the game because it's a ghost, but look at it. A grumpy old owl. I want to ruffle its feathers. They're the best. Who else did I want to see? I wanted to see somebody else's concept. Oh, well, the Divine Dragon. That's worth a look, surely. It is a spectacle in its own right. It should have presumably good concept. Is this concept art? Is it? So this is the thing, I can't be sure. I don't have the book, so I can't be sure what's concept art and what's fan art. Looks as ornery as Owl himself. I suppose, yeah, this is a good sort of reflection of the character. Okay, so there's a website called Creative Uncut that has a lot of cool stuff in it. So apparently this is the concept art for the Divine Dragon. Looks pretty neat, and the sword there on the left. Obviously, the sword's not on the right, because he's got this wonderful sort of branching, intertwining body. And the wisps, I forgot about the wisps. There are many wisps coming off of it. This is why I did all of these in purple. Yeah, it's very much embracing the sort of tree dragon thing, sort of split open, stuff like that. And then it's got art of the head, which looks very nice. I like the head. You very rarely, you don't really see the head of the dragon because you're usually so far away in this fight. You only come in physical contact with it when you stab it in the eye. The first time you really get a close up of the face is when you're in the air to deal the final electrical blow, and it sort of moves its head up close to you, just in a very cool cinematic that you can easily skip by just firing it too early. It's cool design. It's real neat. What else do we want to see? You mean a hatred? Again, it's mostly men with swords, so it's kind of tricky to know what to look. Oh, Shichiman. Shichiman. I want to see what they look like. What are these things? Okay, well, that explains why I don't know what these things are. Hang on, let me get the... Like, what's going on there? That's a lot more than 7 faces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's loads of faces in there. There's some on the shoulders. There's more just going on in there. That's the body. That's not armor. I like how the armor has like wrinkles. Bone feet. I feel like I'm justified in not knowing what this thing looks like. Right? Because I still don't know what it looks like, and I'm looking at it. Did you not recall that boss? It's a Shichiman warrior. There are several of them in the game. There's one at the bottom of a waterfall in the palace. There's one in the well on your way down to the big jump. There's one that takes the arena where the double ape fight is after that. There's another one somewhere. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think you'll know it when you see it, but even just from the concept art, it's like that. you get such a bad look at it in the game that you just wouldn't even recognize it if you saw the model. Like, you'd recognize its animations and its movements. Like, does that help? It's a little closer to how you'd see it. Pretty accurate to the concept art, though. Is that a belt of intestines? I don't want to know. What else? I don't know what else would have good concept art, to be honest. Again, this game is pretty grounded. Most of the enemies are just people or animals. There's only the select few that are weird. So let's look up the centipedes. We're not going to get a Wolnir out of this. Long arm centipede. That's what they're called. Yeah, they're weird. Hang on. Oh, it's very, very long claws. I forgot about that. You know, they've just sort of strapped loads of spikes and ribs and things. Weird. Weird stuff. They're implanted. They're actually like part of the... I thought they were just sort of strapped to them. Well, that makes them less pleasant. As if they were ever pleasant. Let's end on Demon of Hatred. That's probably got some good art. All right. Aha, this is the kind of art I was looking for. So yeah, what if Manos was on fire? And also kind of moon presency in a strange sort of way. It's got the rib thing going on. This doesn't feel like the in-game one, like in terms of sort of the way it holds itself, but that's what concept art's for, I guess. But again, yeah, that's what I was saying about, like, this is the sort of artwork I was looking for. Is again, so much of this is just gestural. You look at this face, and it's like, okay, I can see all the bits and pieces, and there's lots of detail, and etc., etc. And then you just look at anything else, and it's just like, oh, they just put some scribbles in here. There's just blotches of color here and there. You know, this is just vague. I think they've just written the word Kevin here. Occasional wisps of things. You do what you need to do and no more. It's a good time. Well, there you go. That's Sekiro. Sekiro. The graph is getting longer, as expected. Not many things in A interesting. There's more things in S than A. It's kind of odd. Maybe I need to be a bit more lenient with the A categorization. A feels, I don't know. S is something just really, really special. A is not special, but done exceptionally well. And so I guess that's harder to do. Because chances are, if you're going to do something exceptionally well, it's going to be special. Yeah. Ho-hum. If you disagree with any of my rankings today, then feel free to make your own stream in which you rank them, and I will very much be happy to watch, because I'm interested to hear other people's opinion. But until then, I'm going to leave. Thank you for coming along. Hope you had a good time. I'll be back Sunday. Not Saturday. No Saturday stream. Sunday with Project VO. I'm doing RPG things, hopefully, on Saturday. If that changes, I'll let you know. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know what we do. If we're not doing the RPG things, we might do Raft, we might not. Who knows? Plans and all that. Yeah, so I'll be back Sunday. Hope you all had a grand time. Hope you enjoyed. Next Wednesday, we will do Elden Ring. Lord knows how long that's going to take and how many bosses I'm going to forget. But such is the way of things. Elden Ring has 160 bosses, if I recall. Give or take 5. And I'm not doing all of them, because a lot of them are repeats, and some of them are just enemies in rooms, and I don't count that. So, 181. Fantastic. Great. Wonderful. I remember sitting down once and making a list for my boss brush randomizer. I wanted a list of all the bosses. And I cut out all duplicates and all of the things that I didn't consider to be bosses, and they were just enemies in rooms. And I got a list of, I think, 38, which is a solid number. Don't get me wrong. That's not, that is a lot of bosses. That's almost Dark Souls 2, plus DLCs. So it's more than base Dark Souls 2. 180. You think Mariner was downgraded? That's a boss. It has a boss health bar. Why would that be downgraded? Why would that be downgraded and bloody Miranda Flower? One of them. Oh, I think there is one of them without a health bar. That might be true. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's fair. But again, I've also only played Elden Ring once. I have watched on and off some playthroughs other people have done, so... In the ice place? Does that not have a health bar? Interesting. Yeah, Mountaintops of the Giants. I know where it is. It's just outside Castle Sol. Not too far away from a deathbed. But, yeah, more on them next week. But for now, I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll be back on Sunday as planned. If plans change, I'll let you know. Otherwise, I will leave you with the sultry sounds of Terror from Bloodborne. Have a wonderful time, everyone. Look after yourselves. Thank you for being here. Goodbye. Bye.